Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's Monday, time for a new video, and today we're gonna talk about these things, practice pads. So this is my honest review on some of the most common and popular practice pads out there. We will discuss all different types. I mean, obviously I don't own every practice pad on the market, but I have quite a few and there are various types, and between those different types they seem to be quite similar. And this video is only about practice pads. Of course there are other solutions for quiet snare drum practicing, like mesh heads, you know, those Remo silent stroke heads, black holes by RTOM. And there are also those rubber sheets, or I don't know what they're called, that you just put on top of your normal snare drum head. Of course, there's dampening, different dampening solutions and so on. But today we're only talking about the actual practice pads. And we will start right after I kindly remind you to subscribe to my channel. And maybe visit my website, simonspringer.online. There are some exclusive videos on there. So, enough chit chat, let's get right into it. So we start with this kind of thing, which is actually the first practice pad that I ever got. The Quiet Tone Drum Mute. They used to be their own company, I guess. Then I think Sabian bought this company because then it was the Sabian Quiet Tone practice pad. I actually don't know if Sabian still distributes or makes these, or if some other company bought them, or if they are still available at all. But they used to be quite common, and what it is, this is basically like a cut-off snare drum. So you get a head and a rim, but without a drum. And this is an actual drum head, but it sits directly on a hard surface underneath it, so it's completely muffled and makes no tone. And you get a normal triple flanged hoop with that. And then it has those small little feet. And with those you can actually, you know, place it on top of your normal snare drum and get still a nice snare drum kind of sound, but you know, much softer than normal snare drum volume. Or you can, you know, just put it on your snare stand and use it as it is. And what I really like about this thing is that, again, this is an actual drum head. You can also replace this stock head here with a completely normal Remo Ambassador or whatever head you would like to put on there. So this is an actual head, which means that, first of all, you can play brushes on it. This is one of the very few practice pads where you can also practice your brush chops, because on a rubber surface, you know, those brushes don't do anything. So here you have an actual drum head. Right? So for that it's really great, you know, practicing your brushes at a really non-existing volume. You can do this all day, all night. But then with sticks, this thing is kind of loud, you know. So it's loud. I mean, it's still much quieter than an actual snare drum, of course, so it's better than nothing, and you won't hurt your ears. But I mean, do that in an apartment. I mean, at night you can forget it, and also during the day you will annoy your neighbors for sure with this thing. Unless your walls are very thick, but you know, that's kind of loud. And then the other thing is, I'm a big fan and advocate and ambassador and whatnot of low rebound practice pads. I have a whole exclusive lesson on my website called How to Practice Technique, where I talk about low rebound pads, besides talking about lots of other stuff. Maybe you've already seen it, maybe you will now. But you know, to keep it short now, most practice pads out there have more rebound than your actual snare drum, especially if you're not tuning your snare drum super high, but you know, normal, or if you tune it low, then it has even less rebound. But you know, most practice pads out there have more rebound than your actual snare drum. So when you practice on those kind of pads, you're basically setting yourself up for failure, because once you move to your actual drum kit, to your actual snare drum, it will actually give you much more struggle than the surface you practiced on. It starts with the snare, and the snare has even the most rebound. And then every single one of your toms, the bigger it gets, has less and less rebound. And you practice on this surface with, you know, a lot of rebound, and you think your chops are really in great shape and you can play really fluidly and really fast, and then you move to your drum kit and suddenly you suck. So I recommend doing it the other way around, practicing on a surface with less rebound than your actual snare drum. And then once you move to your actual snare drum, you're suddenly going like, oh, wow, okay. this is pretty easy actually. So of course this makes more sense. I mean, sometimes you need a lot of rebound if you are working on finger technique, or some certain techniques require more rebound than a low rebound practice pad would give you. So I recommend having both and practicing certain techniques on the pad with a lot of rebound. But generally speaking, again, practicing only on surfaces or pads with high rebound is setting yourself up for failure once you move to the drum kit. So this thing has a lot of rebound. Much more than my snare drum has, and much more than a low-tuned rock snare drum would have. And it also feels very stiff. I mean, it's an actual drum head, but I don't really know what's underneath that, but it seems to be a very hard, stiff surface. It feels really rigid, really stiff, and has a lot of rebound, and is really, really loud. But another cool thing that this practice pad has is the actual normal drum hoop here, the rim, so you can practice rim shots and side sticks and stuff. And it's also fun to put it on your real snare drum. Gives you a better sound than putting a normal practice pad on there. I don't know if it's made for that, if those feet are specially designed for this, but once you put this on a normal snare drum, you get a really nice, very quiet snare drum sound. But you know, that thing alone is, in my opinion, too loud for an apartment. And when you put the snare underneath that, it's much louder. So this is not really a low volume situation here, okay? So moving on, the next thing is the absolute classic, the normal standard rubber practice pad. The original ones used to be yellow, I remember. I remember those old yellow, light brown kind of pads. And then they made it dark gray. This is the old HQ Real Feel pad. I'm sure you've seen this a million times. I don't know if this company still exists or if some other company makes them now, but basically what I want to say is there are dozens and dozens of companies out there now making practice pads exactly like these, you know, with this wooden kind of base and then this hard rubber surface on it. They are all pretty much the same. Over the years I've played on so many of those things, and there is not much of a difference. There are some, I mean, those used to be actually kind of expensive, but you can also nowadays find very cheap ones for a couple of bucks actually. I also have a couple more of these. I actually have the Vic Firth pad as well, the old Vic Firth pad with the light gray rubber surface, but other than that it's pretty much the same. Feel-wise, in my opinion, the Vic Firth one is even a bit more bouncy, has even a bit more rebound than this one. But the general thing with those is they all have a lot of rebound, you know? It's probably like the previous one, the Quiet Tone. It has a lot of rebound, but it still does not feel as stiff and as rigid as the Quiet Tone. It feels a bit softer to me. So a little bit more realistic, like an actual drum head would move, you know, an actual drum head. Besides from the rebound, it's never complete, it's never rigid, it's never stiff, it moves, you know. So this emulates that a little better than the Quiet Tone, in my opinion. And despite the name Quiet Tone, this is also, you know, much more quiet. So you can practice this in your actual apartment. Maybe also not late at night if your walls are thin, because, I mean, this is still a noise that can be heard. I participated in a drum camp once, you know, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. And I woke up every morning to the sound of 30 practice pads being played in the other hotel rooms. So yeah, this thing goes through walls. And I've been using this thing so much. I actually also used it on my free course on hand technique demystified. It's here on my YouTube channel, 17 episodes of free hand technique lessons, in case you're interested. And I used this pad throughout the whole course, and people have actually made fun of me because it looks so old and awful and used, but yeah, that's what it is. It's used. I use this thing a lot. And I mean, it's really fun to play because the rebound is so nice, but then again, guys, that's not the kind of rebound that you will get on a snare drum, but it is fun to play. All right, the next thing would be kind of out of the same family, a hard rubber pad, but in to-go sizes. I have one of those HQs in small as well. It feels pretty much the same. I mean, it's smaller, but still. But another interesting thing that they started producing a while ago are those tiny little practice pads that you can actually strap around your knee. This here is the WINCENT Slim Pad, and it goes right around your leg here. I mean, the big advantage of this obviously is portability. I use this thing on the road a lot. It fits right into your stick bag, and you can, you know, practice any place, anytime. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. It's a hard rubber pad. It has a little less rebound because it's so small, I guess. So it doesn't give you that much rebound or that many bounces as the big HQ one, which actually makes it kind of a little more realistic, but then again, it's so small, so I mean, you're not really getting a realistic snare drum feel on this thing. Also concerning height, I mean, you can put it around your leg, and that's the height of it. If you want to have it higher, you have to, you know, put your leg onto something. If you want to have it lower, you can maybe stretch out a little bit, but then you always have this angle kind of too, which I like because I play traditional grip and my drum is angled away anyways. But if you want to have an angle, you know, if you want to have an opposite angle, you know, the pad facing you, you will actually have to lift your leg or put something under your foot, or I don't know, or invent something else. If you just strap it around your leg like this and you're sitting on a normal drum throne, it will be angled away from you. If you sit lower, like on a normal chair, yeah, you can get it pretty flat then, and you can maybe raise your leg a little bit. So yeah, you can definitely experiment with that. So you will find kind of the angle that is best for you, I guess. But if you sit in a normal drum chair, drum throne, and strap it around your leg, it will, you know, be face downwards. But this is kind of a gimmick kind of thing. For me, this will never, you know, replace a normal practice pad just because of the size, but this is a very, very cool travel option, I would say. So, now we have my winner kind of, the first of those low rebound pads I talked about. And this is the Prologix Blue Lightning or Blue Thunder. I guess Blue Lightning is what it's called. Kind of a fabric surface. Feels a little bit like a couch or something, you know. So this is, and I also talk about this in my exclusive lesson, How to Practice Technique. This is kind of the modern equivalent of practicing on pillows, what a lot of grades used to do. But this actually gives you more rebound than a pillow and a more definite striking surface, making it more realistic without being, you know, over bouncy and over realistic with too much rebound. You see, this is, yeah. This is kind of, a high-tuned snare drum has more rebound than this. But this would be kind of like a low-tuned rock snare drum kind of, you know? Or like one of your toms, your 12-inch tom maybe. So this gives you actually a much more realistic feel, unless you're playing in a drum corps and you're, you know, used to those completely hard and flat, you know, marching drums. Then you will need a rubber pad. I mean, maybe that's what they are for. But this is more like the drum set, you know? And it feels very great to me. I love this pad. And again, for finger technique, you might want to use a pad with more rebound from here and there, because for some certain finger techniques, this gives you maybe not enough bounce. But I mean, it's realistic. That's what a low-tuned snare drum would be, right? And another huge plus side of this pad, it's quiet, you know? Given that the surface is not a rubber surface, but a, you know, a couch kind of surface, this is very quiet. I mean, if you whack it like crazy, it will again be loud, but if you practice like on a normal volume that you would be playing your actual snare drum with, this comes closer to a practice anytime solution. If you do it quietly, you can use this for late night practice as well. And it has this kind of rim, so you can do rim shots. I don't really know what's that for, but yeah, it has that rim too. And then on the other side, this is actually, I guess, not supposed to be a playing surface. They advertise this more of being like, you know, just a surface that sticks to whatever you put this on. So this is not meant to be an actual playing surface. It consists of recycled material, but this recycled rubber material thing feels like a normal rubber HQ practice pad to me. So you have your normal practice pad on this side, if you want to practice finger technique or something, and then you turn it around and then you have your workout side, your quiet, late night, low rebound practice pad side on that side. Great thing. So next up is the RTOM Moongel Pad. This is your gym. This is the gym of hand technique. This thing has almost no rebound, but still kind of more rebound than a soft pillow would have. This is like more like a hard pillow or a couch. So this is really your workout here. You have to muscle out every single stroke that you play. Not a lot rebound, almost none at all. But I really, really like it for that certain aspect. This is not my all-purpose practice pad, of course, but this is my workout practice pad. And it's super, super quiet. This is the most quiet pad on the entire list. I mean, even if I smack it, it's still quiet. And if you play it soft, this is really, you can probably play this next to another person sleeping and won't wake that person up. And it consists out of Moongel. It's the Moongel pad. It consists out of Moongel. You know, those gel pads that you put on your drums to dampen them. That's what's inside here. You can actually pull this thing out. And then you have this sack of gel-filled material. And that's what it is. You can practice on this alone. Winds up being the same thing, but there's this, you know, kind of thing to put it in there. And it doesn't really fit a normal snare stand, as you can see, but it has this hole here. And with that, you can, you know, screw it onto a cymbal stand. So this works. And it's, again, super portable. You can take this wherever you want. Super quiet, super efficient, but again, not your all-purpose practice pad. This is a special practice pad, okay? This is for working out, working on your endurance, working on your strength. That's the pad. So next up is the DRUMEO P4 Practice Pad, designed by Pat Petrillo. And it looks like this. And from the side it looks like this. So this is the first, you know, multi-dimensional practice pad on our list. It has 4 different pads with different rebounds and different textures on 3 different height levels. And the cool thing with this is you can actually emulate, you know, the drum set here. You can play grooves. I mean, you could still do the same thing on only one surface, one pad, you know, but this makes it easier, you know, just imagining having different instruments here and moving around between those. So it's kind of fun, but in my opinion, the huge downside of this is the rebounds. I mean, it starts here with the blue surface. That is kind of your normal standard, you know, rubber practice pad rebound. With, again, in my opinion, too much, but that is pretty standard. And then they say this is kind of supposed to be like a cymbal, so this is very hard, and it is. This is a very hard rubber that really feels more like a metal surface. So great job on that one. But then those two, they are supposed to be kind of like your toms. This one has less rebound than the snare here, so that's okay. But the black one has more rebound than the blue one, which is completely unrealistic in my opinion, because my rack tom never has more rebound than the snare. If I go around the drum set, the pitches get lower and lower and the rebounds get less and less. So my first tom has already a lower pitch and much less rebound than my snare. So going from here to there should not be an increase in rebound. And then this surface here is supposed to be the low rebound surface, and it has the least rebound of those four surfaces. But you know, it still has a lot more rebound than the normal low rebound practice pads, and maybe even more rebound than your snare drum. So that's kind of disappointing. I would have loved, absolutely loved this practice pad if this surface would have been my rack tom here, and then here that would have been like a really, really low rebound surface like the Moongel Pad or something. Then it just would have been perfect. You know, snare, then this one here as a rack tom, then the really low rebound surface here, and there your cymbal. This would have been great, and then you also would have had a very low rebound surface in there as well for your massive workout. That's what this thing is missing in my opinion. But other than that, great job. And last up on today's list is another pad by DRUMEO, which would be the DRUMEO Quiet Pad. This is deceiving because that is the non-quiet side, and there you have the actual quiet side. So on this side, the blue side, it is your normal hard rubber practice pad, pretty standard. Lots and lots of rebound, but this is like really normal rubber practice pad. And then on the other side, you have this very soft, I don't know, especially in English, I don't know the word for this, what kind of material this is. It is a very soft black foam. Yeah, it's kind of a foam thing, I guess. And this is the quiet side. The quiet side is also the low rebound side. I mean, it has more rebound than the Prologix one, but still, you can get a nice workout out of this quiet side. Considering the quiet part, if you smack it, it's not really quiet because then you're directly hitting the wooden surface underneath the foam. But if you play it quietly, or at a normal kind of volume, it's pretty quiet. So overall, they have done a great job on this one, I guess, and it is not very expensive. They have a very good price on this one. So, well done. That's it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and a comment below this video. Go to my website and please subscribe to my channel right here if you haven't already. Check out all the other stuff on my channel if you're interested. For example, I have a completely free course on hand technique. All those other videos might interest you too. Thanks again. Leave a like and a comment maybe. Subscription, you know the deal. And I see you all next Monday.